camera methods, we're using the primitive methods. Again, that makes it a lot easier. But I mean, if you want to really get into detail, you're gonna want to take this and just manually do it. Make sure you always have your effect subparts, so you can click each part and mess with it. If you don't, you're gonna just move the whole thing as a whole. That's why you want to make sure you have effect subparts checked, so you can move everything. So that's just another little thing. If you remember our first lesson when I did chapter 1, don't save, actually recent, I made this table by just placing things. I manually had to do the table, and I used quad view to make sure everything was nice and leveled. Well, there's a trick you could do, and that is basically, here's our cup, or here's our cookie. So we have that cookie. Let me get it off. Okay, so our cookie's off that plate. So what you have to remember is this is plate number 2, this is cookie number 4. Okay, so what we could do is move cookie. So we'll take a method, we'll move cookie to, it was plate number 4. No, sorry, plate number 2. So as you see, the cookie moved to plate number 2. This is where putting things on something makes it a lot easier, because when you have to do it here in quad view, you know, I had to make sure I was leveled on everything. I had to zoom in, turn everything around. I had to make sure everything was nice and leveled. See how I have everything nice and leveled? So again, that was chapter 1, showing you how to use the camera and tools like that. This is chapter 2, showing how you use primitive methods to place things. But hey, I did a good damn job using just the camera, so I'm pretty impressed. But again, that's how you use primitive methods to help you out. You can actually take a move to an object, and it puts it right to that object. We can get really close if we want to. Again, I'm doing it the hard way. I can actually take the camera. If I want to go, I can go camera, move to. Plate number 4. So as you see, it moved right to the plate number 4. You're like, oh my god, it moved into the plate. Well, if I put a different, a more method, I can tell it to move just, you know, close enough to I can see the plate. But there's plate number 4. I can actually go back to plate number 2. Move to plate number 2. There's plate number 2. And isn't there, I think there is one here too. Method. There it is. That's it. That's the other way. See, if I move this out, if you right click and hit camera, get a good look at this, it goes right to the object. And it gets a nice screen capture so you can see that. I want to go to the original plate, so get a good look at that plate. So what the camera does, if you hit camera and then the move to, it's going to move it to its center point. So if I go to the, let me see, the girl has her center point at the her waist, so it's going to move right to her waist. So you see, I'm sitting in her center point. But if I want to see her as a whole, I'm going to go to girl and just get a good look at her. So now it's going to put the camera where it can get the best spot to see her. And then you're telling me there's a look at, so we have method, look at. Hold on, am I blind? Oh, I used it already. Okay, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, under the camera. Okay. Okay. I was like, wait a second. I thought I just did that. Oh, man. Hold up. My object window is all messed up now. Oh, this ain't good. I don't have 2 programs running. Nope. Huh. Well, we're going to close that one. I think actually that's the last. Okay, yeah, that is the last. Oh, actually, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. Hold on. the last thing in chapter 2 is what I was going to tell you about, the do together. So let's get a new world. Okay, here's our new world. What we have is something down here. If you see, we have do in order and do together. Don't worry about these. These are later chapters. So the do together, if you do in order, it's just going to follow whatever method and just follow it in order. So it won't it won't start the next method until the first is completed. Whereas do together does them at the same time. And you always want to make sure your times are correct, because if you put in a wrong time for something, one might, if you're trying to make it do it at simultaneously, if one time's different than the other, it's not going to be simultaneously anymore, of course. So that's a do together. So here, let's get 2 penguins, and we're going to have them face each other at the same time. So let's get a penguin. What is it? P-E-N-G-U-I-N? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to put a penguin here, penguin here. I'm doing it the primitive way of moving my camera. Okay. So now I want both these penguins. We have penguin 1, penguin 2. I want them to look at each other at the same time. So we're going to drag in that do together. Let me just get rid of one just so I showed you. It's just a drag and drop. And again, before I start, as you see, this penguin has custom methods. Well, we're not going to use any of those. How you're going to know a custom method is, as you see, you don't see the penguin name. It's because this is attached to this penguin. It already knows. It's a custom method. It knows it's going to that penguin already. So what we're going to do is we're going to have this penguin turn, penguin number 1, to his left, 1 revolution. Or, sorry, 1/4 revolution. We're going to click penguin 2. Or, let me show you the other thing. Remember, I taught you about copy. So what we could do is we can copy this. It's going to make a copy underneath. We're going to click penguin 2, entire body. We're going to rotate him to the right. And it's the same revolution. And now if we hit play, they do it at the same time. They look at each other at the same time. Whereas if you do in order, so we'll grab those and put them in the yellow. See, penguin 1 and penguin 2. So that's how you know the difference between do together and a do in order. So again, I showed you if you have, like, if we put a jump up and a jump down in the same do together, it's not going to work because, again, it's doing it at the same time. So whatever you put in here, it's going to happen at the same time. Like, let me try to give an example. Like my jump that I did, the jump and spin. So we'll put penguin 2 jumps in the air 1 meter. He's going to do this at the same time he's spinning. So you see, he did it at the same time he was spinning. And then you can also, if you want, you can put a do together within a do together. So that happens. So let's see, let's add a penguin 2 resizes. Hold on, not a resize. Jumps up 1 meter, jumps down 1 meter. Shit, I messed something up. Hold on. No, see, that has to be a separate. I'm sorry, that has to be a separate do together. Yeah, it has to. That has to be separate. Can't be in the same. I don't want to confuse you guys, so let me just stop there. Let me just stop what I'm thinking too much of what I want. Like, I want to do something cool, but I'm thinking. So let me just stop thinking. Okay, so let's have these 2 penguins. We want to have these 2 penguins now move towards each other at the same time. So let's throw in another one. So they already look at each other. I mean, I can make them if I put it all in the same do together, it's going to have them turn while walking. I don't want them. I want them to turn to each other first. Then I want them to walk. I'm going to have to say 0.5 might be the right. So that was penguin 2, penguin 1. Let me double check. Maybe I can do 1. So let's try to change it to 1. I might have to do a 0.75 though. Oh no, perfect. Perfect. Okay, so we have them walking, and now we're going to have them nod their head. Actually, we're going to use a custom. Let's just make it... You know what? No. I'm going to go and do another custom. Instead of custom, let's make them move their head. This will get a little bit more in depth of chapter 2. Because right now, the whole time we've just been moving the whole body. So we're going to click penguin 1. We're going to click his head. And now you see his methods come up. So we want to have him turn his head to the left. We want it just to be a little. So yeah, we'll go with 1/4. And we're going to have penguin 2 turn his head. So if this is turning left, no, I want him to turn to the right. I want them to face the camera. So that means penguin 2 will be turning to the left. So now if I run that, they should both look at the camera. So you see? We turn their head to look at the camera. So again, you see they doing it together. If you have your times off, like I said, or not times, if you have your duration off, it won't look correct. See how one turned faster than the other? So again, this is why you want to make sure your times are correct, so they do it at the same time. Which one are you talking about? Oh, okay. Turn their bodies, okay. So we're going to change this. Actually, we'll keep that. Hold on, no. Let me make life. So, that's going to make... Wait, hold on. You want turn body to face camera while they look at each other. Okay, so we'll click penguin 2. Penguin 1. We're going to have him turn. It would be towards his right, 1/4. Penguin 2 would turn to his left, 1/4. And then you want me to have them also look at each other. Okay, so that means you want me... So we're going to click their head. You know what? I'm going to make life easier. I'm going to click this one. I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to click penguin 2 and copy it. I'm just going to drag it into this one. Drag this other one into this one. And I'm going to change from right to left and left to right. So that should actually make them look at the camera. Turn. Oh, crap, that messed up. Because their body's turning. So we have to counter that. Because we're making the whole body turn. So we have to counter it. But see, then it looks awkward. So, you know, I mean, we can make another do together and then just drag these in. It'll look a little bit more fluid instead of it looking like them oh god. See, we would have to fix the head. So, because right now it's twisting first and then they're turning. So what we would have to do is, again, we would make another copy.